94% of people that start an AI agency end up failing. Let me say that again. 94% of people that start an AI agency end up failing. Why? Well, this is because competition is higher than it ever has been before. And the more saturated the space becomes, the harder it is to separate yourself. And everybody thinks that you can just throw together a few ChatGPT automations and just start printing money and become a millionaire overnight. But here's the thing they don't tell you. The ones that succeed aren't the best coders. They're not some crazy computer engineers. They're the ones that actually just understand that this is a consulting business, not a tech business. And this is such a huge misconception within the AI space. And that's why a lot of you guys aren't successful. So today I'm going to show you the truth about how I actually made over $34,000 in 1 month with my AI agency, leveraging and using the pain point prioritization method, or what I like to call PPM. No theory, no fluff, literally the exact system that's working for me right now. And before you think that this only works for me, my student Jay, using this exact method, made over $9,000 after 2 months of working with me. He was literally starting from zero, no sales experience, no coding experience, no tech knowledge, literally just using the PPM method and working with me. So at a high level, here's the exact system that we use. So phase one, we're going to have to learn what AI solutions are, how to actually sell them, voice agents, chat agents, RAG systems, and master the art of selling them. From there, we're going to start getting clients. We're going to start with warm, then move to cold, and then move to paid outreach. And then phase three is we actually use the PPM method to identify, quantify, and prioritize the client's pain points to close the deal over 70% of the time. Then moving on to phase four, we're going to delegate 100% of the work and the build out and the fulfillment of this process to developers. Remember, you need zero coding experience. Now, lastly, phase five is the easiest part to scale through referrals and advertising. We'll get into that shortly. Now, if you want me to show you exactly how this works and help implement the pain point prioritization method, or PPM, into your business, please just book a call with me down below and we can see if we're a good fit to work with each other. But with that being said, let's get right into the video. It's pretty much just going to be the learning phase. And here's what most people get wrong out the gate. They think they need to be some crazy engineer knowing all about Python and Java, but that could just not be farther from the truth. They spend 6 months learning Python, taking $2,000 courses, trying to build everything themselves, but that is the wrong approach. What you actually need to do is you need to spend 2 to 3 weeks consuming everything you can about AI automation. I'm talking YouTube videos, articles, case studies, but you're not learning how to code these solutions. You're learning what they do and who they can help. The three main AI solutions that you need to understand are AI voice agents, AI chat agents, and RAG systems. Well, what is an AI voice agent? Well, it's pretty much an AI phone system that can handle inbound calls and book appointment into a client's calendar 24/7. A chat agent is pretty much a chatbot that goes live on their website or is working with the back end of the business owner to help them answer inquiries that are coming into their business. And a RAG system is pretty much an AI that could search through an entire company's database and files and give them a result based off exactly what the inquiry is. And remember, you don't need to know how to build any of this. You just need to know what it can do, who it can help, and how you can sell it, which we'll get into right now. The next step is to literally just learn to sell like a consultant, right? This is the most critical part that everyone overlooks because you're not selling AI. What you're really selling is the business outcomes, right? The business outcomes is the entire sales process around this entire thing. So let me give you an example. A restaurant owner doesn't care about an AI powered voice agent with a natural language processing and a GPT-4 integration. What they actually care about is never missing another reservation when it's super busy, increase their bookings by 30%, and freeing up their hostess to actually see customers instead of being glued to the phone the entire time. See the difference? See how one just talks about the tech and sounds like a presentation in school, whereas the other one is actually addressing that problem for the business owner? That's the difference. Instead of worrying so much about actually building out the AI, you need to learn how to sell. So spend that time instead watching sales calls, reading sales books, understanding objection handling, because this skill alone will make you more money than any coding ability ever will. According to McKinsey, generative AI can add $4.4 trillion to the global economy annually. We're talking about the biggest technological shift since the internet itself. Here's the crazy part. While everybody knows that AI is coming, actually less than 10% of service-based businesses Small to medium-sized businesses are actually using it on a daily basis. Think about that. There are millions of businesses right now that need AI. They're hearing about it every day, but they have no idea where to start. And the truth is, this is not a saturated market. This is an underserved market. And that's exactly where you come in as an AI agency, as a consulting business, to actually help these people. The AI revolution isn't coming, it's already here. And any business that is not adopting it is going to fall behind. And that is your selling point. So you've learned about the solutions, you understand how to position yourself as a consultant. Now it's actually time to get clients. And the best way to start is with warm outreach. You need to start with people who already know you. And I know you're thinking, but I don't know any business owners. Yes, you do. You just haven't even thought about it yet. You have to make a list right now of every single person you know. Someone who owns a business, knows someone who owns a business, or works at a company that could use AI automation that could potentially pitch your service. This is your parents, your friends, your cousin's landscaping company, the gym you go to, the restaurant you go to, old coworkers, people from school. You're going to have to reach out to people, and it's going to be hard to put yourself out there, but I guarantee you this is the number one way to get clients, and I've seen it time and time again. Now, once you've exhausted your warm network and ideally close your first deal or two, you could then move on to cold outreach. And you have two main channels, cold calling and cold emailing. For cold calling, you're going to be targeting businesses that have an obvious pain point. Think HVAC, law firm, med spas, restaurants, businesses that obviously need help with answering calls or need help with a chat agent or need help with a RAG system. And you could easily just talk to them about their pain points over the phone. You're calling them, you're getting past the gatekeeper, and you're booking meetings. For cold email, you're using that same sort of targeting, but crafting personalized messages that speak to their specific pain points, not template spam, actual research-based outreach that will actually deliver results. And I can make a video about that later on, but cold emailing and cold calling are by far one of the best things that you could do in that cold outreach space. I'm not giving you guys the exact scripts here because that's what we really dial in with and customize when you join the PPM program. But the truth is, the process is pretty simple. You need to identify their pain, offer a solution, book a meeting, and close the deal. Once you close a few clients organically and you already know what works, it's time you pour some gasoline on that fire and start with paid ads. You're running ads on Facebook, Instagram, Google, targeting business owners in the niche that has been most popular in your organic clients because you already know how to work with them. The key here is to not start with ads. And you say again, don't start with ads, because what you need to do is you get a few clients organically, understand your systems, craft your offer, and then go into ads once you're confident, because AI space is hot. You're going to be getting a bunch of leads in through your advertisements. So what you need to be able to do is learn how to close them first, and then you could actually, have a profitable ad campaign running. Okay, step 3, and arguably the most important step, is actually closing the deal. And here's where most people completely blow it, because they get on a sales call and they start talking about the AI. So we'll build you a GPT-4 powered agent with function calling. We'll integrate it with your CRM using webhooks and APIs. Dude, they don't care. The business owner doesn't care. You need to position yourself as a consultant. You need to listen to their pain points, build rapport, and then you could go into talking about the AI once you already know the problem that you're addressing. And the way that you become a world-class consultant is using and mastering the PPM method, pain point prioritization. This is the exact framework I use to close over 70% of my sales calls. And it's what my students use to go from closing 1 out of 10 deals to closing 7 out of 10 deals. The first step of the PPM method is to actually identify. You need to be an investigator, just like this guy here. When you get on a call, you're not pitching, you're investigating. You're asking strategic questions to get this business owner to reveal their pain points. Instead of asking close-ended questions like, oh, how many calls you get in a day? Do you have a receptionist? No. Walk me through a typical day in your business. Where do things get chaotic? What's currently on fire that you wish you could really just fix tomorrow? Where are you personally spending time that you know isn't the best use of your time? This will allow them to start talking a lot about their business. And as they're talking, you're writing down, understanding their pains, you're identifying so you can attack them later on in the call. Now, the next step is to actually quantify. This is one of my favorite parts, because this is where you actually turn the business owner's pain into dollars. So let's say you mentioned that they're missing calls after hours, where here's how you actually quantify. I'll read this out to you. Okay, so you mentioned you missed, calls after 6 p.m. and on weekends. Roughly how many calls would you say that you miss per week? About 20? Okay, and what's the average value for customer for you? Okay, got it, 500. Awesome, write that down. Now you actually do the math with them and walk them through their exact business, and they can understand how much money they're losing out on and how you can deliver them an ROI. So if, they're missing 20 calls a week and, $500 per one of those calls, even if half of those would have been converted, that's, $5,000 per week that you're missing out on. That's $20,000 per month, over $240,000 a year that they are missing out on because they're not getting to those calls and they have slow follow-up because they're doing everything manually. Don't stop there, because you got to remember they have multiple pain points. You also need to quantify that as well. You said you're getting about 10 refunds per month because you can't get back to your clients fast enough, and each refund is about $300 to $500. That's $3,000 per month at the bare minimum. That's $36,000 per year. Now you've got two quantified pay points: missed calls, which is adding up to about $240,000 a year, and slow support causing refund, which is about $36,000 per year. Keep going through each pain point that they mention and attach a dollar amount to all of them. Now they're realizing that they actually have a huge issue within their business and they need your help. You need to focus on their biggest problem first. So you need to do a recap with them. Okay, so just to recap, what we discussed was that you're losing about $240,000 per year off missed calls, $36,000 from support-related refunds, and you mentioned the manual data entry is taking about 15 hours of your time per week, which at your hourly rate is under $30,000 per year in opportunity costs. So you need them to understand that it's literally over $300,000 in total losses. But here's the thing: we need to prioritize. If you could only fix one of those problems in the next 30 days, which one would have the biggest impact on their business? This gets them to think. And once they've already realized that they had a problem, the deal is pretty much closed. And this is why I love the PPM framework so much. And now, and only now, is when you present your solution and make sure to talk not a lot about the AI, just talk about 24/7 call answering, a RAG system, which is pretty much just going to be a chat agent that has all their files in one place, and obviously a chat agent to help with those refund times and make sure that customer support is dialed in. You talk about this, you just address their problems, you offer the solution, and see how you didn't talk about AI or any crazy workflows. You're doing a pain point based approach, and that is what closes 70% of meetings. After this, you are going to have some objections, but truthfully, this is the best method because you kind of address all their objections as you're selling them and as you're diagnosing their problems. And if you did it correctly, they shouldn't have a bunch of objections because you've already absolutely answered everything they could possibly know, and they need to understand they have a big problem and you can help them. I guess the question you guys would have is like, well, why does this PPM model work so well? Well, they sell themselves. You're not convincing them that they have a problem. They're discovering it through your questions. The numbers don't lie. Once they sit there missing out on $240,000 in losses, your $8,000 fee looks pretty small. And again, this positions you as a consultant, not a salesperson pushing AI. You're just breaking down what's going on in their business. And when you master the PPM, you will close 70% of deals, I promise you. And like I've said, I've literally seen students go from closing 1 out of 10 deals to closing 7 to 8 out of 10 deals on average by using this exact method. Okay, so step 4, and probably you guys have been wondering, well, how can I get into AI without having to know how to code? Well, the truth is, you don't need to build anything yourself. I'm going to say that again. You don't need to build anything yourself. I don't know why people think that. To be completely honest with you, I don't know how to code. I don't know how to use Python. I don't know how to use Java. And truthfully, I hated coding in high school. And I promised myself I would never go into an AI business because I didn't know how to code. But it's funny that I've made over 6 figures in profit with my agency without knowing a single line of code. So I want to show you exactly how I did that. And it's by using the delegation model. And the way it works is you delegate between 15 to 20% of every job to a developer. So if you close a deal for $10,000, your profit's probably going to be around $8,000 to $8,500 because you delegated the rest to a developer. The developer is pretty much going to do all the technical work. They're going to handle like APIs, the integration, pretty much everything that you don't want to deal with. And they're going to give you a solution that's perfectly able to hand over to the business owner. Of course, you're going to need some communication with that developer because you're actually going to be the business owner and you're the middleman. But you don't have to do any of the coding yourself, and you only have to hop on a meeting about like once a week with the developer, and the average build time is like 4 weeks. Literally 4 meetings with the developer for 30 minutes, make sure they're doing a good job, and they'll deliver you a perfect solution, and the client is satisfied pretty much every time. Okay, so to find these developers, you're probably thinking, okay, well, how do I find about developers that won't screw me over? Well, you could use platforms like Upwork and Fiverr, which will make sure that you could find all the developers that you want. You can see their case studies, you can see the past work that they did, and you can hire developers, right? But the thing is, I don't really love that method that much because at the end of the day, you're trusting someone that you've never met before, you don't have a relationship with, and it's going to be controlling the entire business owner's business. So it's honestly a good amount of risk. It's worked a few times well for me, but I more prefer the method of joining private communities like Skool and Discord communities where you could actually get access and build relationships with developers that you actually could instill trust in and want to work with you and actually want to partner with you to grow your agency. And then there's more trust because you guys are both in it and you both are taking a risk together. And to be honest with you guys, this is the exact method that I use for my agency, and it's honestly worked amazingly. And I have super strong relationships with every single developer that I work with, and I trust them with 10, 20, 30, $40,000 jobs because I know that they're always being my corner. And truthfully, if you could literally just communicate clearly and manage a project from start to finish, you could run this entire business model without even knowing how to write a single line of code if you do and leverage these things properly. Okay, so step 5 is to actually scale. So you need to build a referral machine and also use ads. So we'll go over the referrals first. I want to give you guys a quick little statistic. When I started my business in the first month and a half, I made $4,000. Pretty good, nothing crazy. But that same month after I got that first client, I did $12,000 because I provided such a good solution to that client. And as a result, he referred me to his network of connections and ended up building a pretty good foundation for my agency. I was able to put money into ads fast. The best way to get referrals is just providing a ton of value to the clients and they'll automatically refer you. And this is what honestly happens most of the time. But the truth is, if that doesn't happen, what you can actually do is you can actually build referral based systems. We're saying, if you refer me to this, I'll take this off your monthly cost. Or if you refer me to this, I'll give you a percentage of the deal that you referred from. What actually happens is this allows you and the client to have a super great and healthy relationship, and they have an incentivization to actually help you, and you have an incentivization to actually help them. And then to scale to 30, 40, 50, $100,000 months, that's exactly where ads come in, because you already know the exact clients that want to work with you and who you want to work with. And then you could pretty much just target exactly tailored ads to those clients, allowing them to come into your business. You already have an entire solution, an entire outline, exactly how to close them. And then you can just grow and scale. And then eventually, the more money you put into ads, the more money you'll make and the higher your business will grow and scale. Because then you could actually, now that you have a bunch of experience, you could use case studies in your ads. How we helped a law firm capture over $50,000 of lost revenue in just 30 days. And now you're going to be closing about 70% of those calls because you've mastered the PPM framework and you can actually scale and grow your business profitably. So using all of these things, this is exactly how you build a real AI agency that actually prints money, and you're not throwing together a few ChatGPT automations and hoping for the best. You're using the PPM method. You're actually learning real knowledge. And most importantly, you're consulting and helping, and then you're scaling. Okay, so let's quickly recap exactly what we covered. So phase 1 is to learn and specialize. Phase 2 is to start getting clients. Step 3 is to actually close deals the right way, master the PPM method that will allow you to close over 70% of the deals that come into your business by identifying, quantifying, and then prioritizing the exact pain points that that business owner is facing, that we're going to deliver without doing the work by doing the delegation method. And step 5 is to scale up using systematic referrals and paid ads. And remember, this is the same exact system that I used to make over $34,000 in under 30 days, and the same method that my student Jay used to make just under $10,000 in just 2 months of getting into this. And the truth is, it really is just the pain point prioritization method, or PPM, that made this all possible. Look, I know there's 1,000 methods out there and everyone's got a system and everyone's got a blueprint, but the truth is this one actually works. I have actual clients and I have actual people seeing results with this method. And honestly, I was struggling to close deals as well until I started using this method, and it took me to an over 70% close rate and scaled my agency from making a few grand a month to doing over 10, 20, and now about to do $40,000 in a single month. You don't need to be a tech genius. All you need to do is just master the pain point prioritization method, and you could scale an AI agency doing a consistent 5 figures every single month with ease if you follow these exact steps correctly. So here's what happens next. If you want me to help you implement the pain point prioritization method into your own agency and implement these 5 steps, and you want my access to the PPM scripts, the developer network, outreach template, the actual project management system, everything you need to make this actually work, then please just click the link below and we could hop on a call and we could see if we're a good fit to actually work together. But I'm only taking on people who are serious and actually want to scale or build their AI business, not the tire kickers, the people that actually want to go all in and be decisive and make a decision and lock in with AI. This is for the entrepreneurs who want to capitalize on the biggest opportunity of the decade before it becomes too saturated. Click the link below, fill out the application, and we'll see if we're a good fit to work together. With that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I dropped some crazy sauce in this entire method, and if you apply these concepts, I guarantee you will be successful. Peace and love.